Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to count down the top 5 most shocking news stories of the first quarter of the year. These are the stories that made headlines, sparked debates, and left us speechless. Let's get started. Hey there, cheesecake lovers. Today we're going to talk about a story that's both sweet and sour, just like a good cheesecake. So buckle up and get ready for a wild ride. Meet Victoria Nazarova, a Russian national and known con woman who's been accused of various robberies and even murder. But she's not here for her baking skills, oh no. She's here for a different kind of cheesecake. You see, in 2016, Victoria was living in Brooklyn, New York, and had an appointment with her friend, Olga Tsvik, who was a Ukrainian beautician and had a striking resemblance to Victoria. But Victoria had other plans, and they involved a cheesecake. Victoria picked up a cheesecake from a local bakery and laced a piece with the Russian tranquilizer phenazepam. She then ate 2 pieces of the cheesecake and gave the third, tainted piece, to Olga. Minutes later, Olga became extremely ill, and I'm not talking about a case of the tummy rumbles. She was violently vomiting, floating in and out of consciousness, and became terrified there was something seriously wrong with her. While Olga was unconscious, Victoria stole her passport, $4,000, work authorization card, and other belongings. She then staged the scene as a suicide, scattering the remaining phenazepam pills around Olga's body. Luckily, Olga survived, and she reported the poisoning to the police. The investigators were able to locate the cheesecake container and extract Victoria's DNA. With the evidence stacked against her, police arrested Victoria in 2017 and held her until her trial this year. In the end, Victoria was sentenced to 21 years in jail for attempted murder, assault, and other charges. And that's the story of the cheesecake con woman. Remember, folks, don't trust everything that's sweet, and always keep an eye on your dessert. 2. Wedding Stereo, Gifted with a Bang, a love story gone wrong. A story of love, betrayal, and explosive gifts. So a newlywed couple in India used stereo as a wedding gift for the bride's ex-lover. But surprise, surprise, it wasn't your typical stereo, but one filled with explosives. Yep, you heard that right. The stereo exploded, and unfortunately the groom and his brother died. The bride's ex-lover, Sarju Markham, was the one who gifted the deadly present. Apparently, he was still in love with her and couldn't accept her moving on. So he came up with this bizarre plan to sabotage the wedding. This guy, Sarju, was so madly in love that he put his prior experience of working at a stone-crushing plant to good use and created a bomb. He wrapped it nicely in a wedding gift box and delivered it to the wedding venue. Nobody suspected anything, and the gift was left unnoticed among other presents. A few days later, the groom and his brother decided to plug in the gift and give it a go. And voila, it exploded. The blast was so powerful that it blew the roof off and brought the walls down. Talk about a party pooper. The police soon got involved and quickly figured out that Sarju was behind the explosion. They found out that he had a history of buying firecrackers and that he had used gunpowder and ammonium nitrate to create the bomb. The bride's relationship with Sarju was already rocky to begin with, as he had lied to her about being married with kids. When she found out, she dumped him, and he couldn't handle the rejection. He wanted her back and was willing to go to extreme lengths to make that happen. Now, it's a tragic story, but let's be real here. If this wasn't so messed up, it would make for an excellent episode of a true crime podcast. I mean, come on. Who thinks of giving a bomb as a wedding present? 3. Well, folks, it looks like the U.S. military has done it again, shooting down yet another suspected Chinese spy balloon off the coast of South Carolina. The incident occurred a week after the balloon first entered U.S. airspace and triggered a dramatic spying saga that has further worsened Sino-U.S. relations. Now, you might think that President Joe Biden would have been cautious about taking down the balloon, and only doing so over open water to safeguard civilians from debris crashing to Earth from thousands of feet above commercial air traffic. But no, he went ahead and ordered the balloon to be taken down, and he's even complimenting the aviators who did it. Multiple fighter and refueling aircraft were involved in the mission, but only one, an F-22 fighter jet from Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, took the shot at 2:39 p.m., 1939 GMT, using a single AIM-9X supersonic, heat-seeking air-to-air missile. That's right, they used a missile to take down a balloon. China is, of course, not happy about this. They strongly condemn the military strike, saying that the airship was used for meteorological and other scientific purposes, and that it had strayed into U.S. airspace completely accidentally. But who are they kidding? U.S. officials have flatly dismissed their claims, and we all know that they're just trying to spy on us. China's foreign ministry said in a statement that they had clearly asked the U.S. to handle this properly in a calm, professional, and restrained manner. But the U.S. had insisted on using force, obviously overreacting. Oh, please, like they've never overreacted before. The balloon was shot down about 6 nautical miles off the U.S. coast of the Atlantic Ocean, over relatively shallow water, potentially aiding efforts to recover elements of the Chinese surveillance equipment over the coming days. One U.S. military official said the debris field was spread out over 7 miles, 11 kilometers of ocean, and multiple U.S. military vessels were on site. The downing of the balloon came shortly after the U.S. government ordered a halt to flights in and out of 3 airports in South Carolina, due to what it said at the time was an undisclosed national security effort. I wonder what that was all about. Maybe they were trying to cover up the fact that they were going to shoot down a balloon with a missile. 4. Hold on to your seats, folks. We've got a story that will make your skin crawl, literally. Picture this. You're cruising through the skies in your fancy airplane, minding your own business, when suddenly your pilot lets out a scream. No, it's not turbulence or engine failure, it's a freaking venomous snake under his seat. That's exactly what happened to South African pilot Rudolf Erasmus on a flight from the Western Cape to Nelspruit. Talk about a mid-air nightmare. Erasmus was left stunned and speechless when he saw the Cape Cobra slithering around under his seat. You know it's bad when the pilot is the one freaking out. But wait, it gets worse. Erasmus had to make an emergency landing at the closest airport, Welcome. Can you imagine the panic that must have caused among the passengers? Attention passengers, this is your captain speaking. Sorry to interrupt your in-flight movie, but we've got a little hitch. There's a venomous snake under my seat, so we're gonna have to land right now. Yeah, I'd be calm too, Rudolph. Luckily, the passengers remained cool and collected, unlike the snake, who was probably having a grand old time slithering around under the pilot's butt. Moral of the story, always check under your seat before takeoff. You never know what kind of creepy crawly might be lurking down there. 5. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this story is wild. Beatrice Flamini, a 50-year-old climber and extreme athlete, spent a whopping 500 days living in a cave underground. That's right, you heard it here first. Equipped with just books and art supplies, Flamini decided to test the limits of her personal self-sufficiency and mental fortitude, as well as help researchers understand what happens to the human mind and body under such extreme circumstances. A support crew made the expedition possible, aptly called Time Cave, by leaving food deliveries at a designated drop-off point and monitoring Flamini's physical and mental condition remotely. The footage will soon become part of a documentary about her endeavor, but we're already on the edge of our seats. Researchers are studying how the lack of contact with other humans and the absence of access to daylight affected Flamini's perception of time, while scientists are exploring the neuropsychological and cognitive effects of the experiment. And get this, a tech company focused on sleep is even analyzing how Flamini's rest may have been affected during her underground stint. Flamini likely set a new world record for the longest duration spent in a cave alone, and Guinness World Record staffers are looking into her feat. Flamini herself said she was surprised the time was already up when her support crew came to retrieve her, stating, "I hadn't finished my book." But wait, there's more. While Flamini was underground, Russia invaded Ukraine, Elizabeth II died, and the Taliban took over Afghanistan, but she was totally unaware. She didn't want to be notified of any news from the outside world, not even the death of a family member or friend. And despite experiencing auditory hallucinations and a strong craving for roast chicken, Flamini never once contemplated giving up early. In fact, she said she didn't even want to come out. Well, folks, there you have it. If you're ever looking to disappear off the grid for over a year and a half, take a page out of Beatrice Flamini's book and head on down to a cave. Who knows? Maybe you'll come out with a new world record or two. That's it for today's weird and wonderful news. We hope you enjoyed our roundup of stories, from poisoning doppelgangers to a Spanish athlete spending 500 days underground in a cave. We also had a pilot discovering a venomous snake under his seat, a man putting a bomb in a wedding gift, and the U.S. shooting a Chinese spy balloon. These stories just go to show that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. From the bizarre to the downright hilarious, the world never fails to surprise us. So keep your eyes and ears open because who knows what kind of strange and entertaining stories will come our way next.